dad owned a business. My grandfather, kind of that whole third generation. So my great grandfather bought the land, built the business. My grandfather built it to what it was, and then my dad took it over, and that third generation ruins it. And he ended up getting liver cancer and passed away. And by the time we kind of found out the level of his sickness, I was still in high school, so I couldn't really help him. And that's kind of what I thought I was going to do for my life, though, was his business was take it over. And
What
so
business was that?
he owned three different mobile home parks.
Oh, cool.
So it ended up being about 90 units in total. They were great, right on the waterfront units. And I kind of had a dream of what I was going to do. So he passed. All that had to be sold for pennies on the dollar because he went full hippie and just decided not to pay his taxes. So we had to get that squared away. And I was left like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And so I was like, banking. I want to go into banking because if I ever get fired from banking, that means the world is going to hell anyway. And
That's true.
never got fired. I went down a different path and climbed that ladder, and could have continued. And it was not for me. I'm not a sit behind a desk person.
Yeah. What was the point where you realized that you were good at sales? Because it seems like you quickly rose. You kind of quickly got to where you're saying you're doing like three times the amount of of what your counterparts were doing. What was there a moment there where you're like, oh, like this is what I'm good at, or maybe best?
I knew I was good at sales because before, so I didn't pursue my degree until I was kind of later in my 20s. So I spent like 18, 19, 20 kind of figuring it out. I ended up getting a certification for personal training. And so 21 and 22 and like 23, I think I was doing personal training. And that's when I knew I was in sales because I was the top seller.
Oh yeah.
I was doing close to 80,000 a month in personal training and supplement sales. And I loved sales. It was one of those organizations though where they take your top salesman and they move you into a leadership position, giving you more tasks and responsibilities without actually paying you anymore, while still having to maintain being a top sales rep. And they were just didn't work out there. So after that is when I went into banking.
When you went into banking, yeah, that makes sense. Was it like with a gym, like a chain, or?
Yeah, it was a big Globo gym.
Nice.
But that's when I knew I was good at sales.
Yeah.
Was through that experience. So
personal training is it can be hard. It's like, I guess, was it in person or you're like direct? That I guess is a little not easier, but at least if someone's walking in the door, you know that they're interested, right?
Well, they had a great sales process. I'll give it to them. Like part of their process is every new membership gets 2 free sessions, and those sessions aren't what an actual training session looks like. They're a sales pitch. They're a multiple touch sales pitch. So that whole experience taught me learning a script, learning a process, following the process, trusting the company that's paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop a process.